welcome to another live stream. And in this live stream, I want to talk about the end of physical media for gaming. Now, this is a topic it's been around for quite some time. I prefer physical media. Well, I did do. I was 100% dead against downloading games, not actually owning that copy of the game. There's pros and cons of it, but we'll get to that in a little while. But the end of physical media for gaming, I think we're on the cusp of it. I just read recently that Game here in the UK will stop selling second-hand games, used games. They won't take them in for trade-ins, etc. And that's a big blow. That is probably the last major sort of retailer that I know that used to sell pre-owned games. Obviously, you've got places like CEX who revel in that market. You can go in there. I know that Game stopped taking in anything older than the PlayStation 2 a long time back. And this is somewhere that CEX excels in, because you can go in there, you can buy PlayStation games, Xbox games, Sega games, and that's great for them. But there will come a time when, with the lack of new games to then become second-hand games, it will affect them as well. I like physical media, and I don't particularly like the whole downloading all of your stuff from a store. I like something physical to hold, but I have to say that I bought my Switch Lite a few months ago. I've got about 15 games for it, and only 2 of those are physical. Prior to that, I was dead against downloading games and keeping everything on an account. You don't actually own these games. These are on loan kind of thing from your from your game provider. And I like the whole collecting games. Now I'm a fan of older gaming. I've got lots of older consoles that didn't have a store, and I have a nice selection of games for those, and they're physical. PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, DS, 3DS, PS Vita, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600. All of these come with a physical game collection, and I like them. They sit there, pride on my shelf, with something to look at. You don't get that with modern gaming and downloading everything from an eShop. But it is the way things are going. Maybe it's the type of consoles that I'm used to. Maybe it's just my generation. If we move forward to my kids, who are anywhere between 13 up to 21, I can't remember the last time they went out and physically bought a game. Everything they buy is downloaded from PlayStation Store, Microsoft Store, Nintendo eShop. It's what they know. It's what they've grown up with, more than physical sales. Recently, we were looking to buy one of my kids a game for Christmas, and it was a toy. It was a toy up between, do we buy it physically or do we buy it from a digital store? I went with the digital, because first of all, it was a present, so nobody wants to open up and go, oh, I've got a piece of paper with a code on it. It was a present. It needed something physical to be there, and like I said, there's pros and cons of physical and digital media, which I've touched on in previous videos. So the pro of, let's look at physical media. It's yours, you buy it, you own it, you've got something to hold in your hand. Yep, that's about it. The cons of that is that the discs can get scratched, the cartridges can die out, or even the actual hardware in your machine will stop reading a perfectly good disc if it's of a certain age. So there's that. They don't take up a lot of space, especially if you're talking older consoles. There's no install, so you haven't got to worry about, I haven't got enough storage to play this game, which is a constant battle with one of my son's consoles. But the pro of having downloadable media or downloadable games, still using the word media there, is that it's always there. You can delete it, you can re-download it, you can break your console, just sign in with your account, and all your games are there, as long as you keep that account. You can't. If for whatever reason Nintendo took your Nintendo account away from you, all of your games would be lost. But it does. Oh, it really is a two-edged. And if you asked me this question about 2 years ago, I would be dead flat against it. Nope, I want it on disc. I want it. It's mine. That's it. But the one key thing about having games sort of downloadable is they're not yours, and there'll be no second-hand market from them. So quite often in the past, I would have a console that I thought, don't really want anymore. I can sell it with a bunch of games. You can't do that with a modern console. That account is your account. Those games are your games tied to you only. So there's lots of pros and cons for digital media and physical media, but it just looks as if that is the trend. In 5 to 10 years' time, you won't be able to walk into a shop and browse second-hand games, wherever that be, whether that be a dedicated game shop, a local charity shop, where you quite often see older games for very little money, and you can pick it up and go, I haven't got FIFA for my PS3 or whatever it is, and get it that way. That is one thing that I am going to miss. I like walking into somewhere like Game or CEX and browsing all of the old physical media, picking up a disc. You've got everything that goes along with physical media, and it's not a trend that is exclusive to gaming. I mean, you've seen the same thing in the music industry. Everything's all streamed these days, all downloaded. You see the same thing with movies. Everything's all streamed or downloaded. So things like vinyl and cassettes and CDs, they're a bit of a thing of the past. A lot of shops won't sell them anymore. The same with films, DVDs and Blu-rays. Everything is all streamed these days. You don't physically own anything. And one of the things, and it took me a long while to come round to this, is that you've got nothing physical in your hand. You don't see the effort that's been put into the game. You don't have that artwork. I mean, especially if you're buying something like an album on vinyl, and there'll be some of you that don't even know what that is. It comes in this 12-inch sort of square, and it's got beautiful artwork. They'll have booklets inside. Scale that down a little bit with CDs, but you still get the same thing. And artwork for games is also fantastic. You used to get maps inside, booklets inside, leaflets. The covers and the back covers were fantastic. That's all disappeared with downloading games from an eShop. You're just looking at an icon in your store and an icon in your shop and on your device itself. That kind of thing has dwindled. I mean, you've got things like Switch games that you buy physically, and you open them up and there's nothing. It's just a box with a sleeve and a cartridge. And at one point when you were buying games, you'd get books and maps and posters to put up and instruction books that were like half an inch thick. That all sort of dwindled down. I think sort of PS2, Wii, that's when they all started to fade out, and they tried to minimise as much packaging and as much paperwork in game cases as possible. And then you've got this move to digital media. And the Switch is the first game I really bought games digitally, and it irks me. It really does. It really annoys me that I'm starting to follow that trend that I've been trying to fight against for quite some time. And a lot of it is financial. You go on the store and they've got a 90% sale. I'm not going to go out and buy a game at £40 physically that I can get on the store for £6. and but that's how they get you. That's how they're progressing this, pushing away of physical sales. So as you can see, I'm a little bit in a quandary here. I've got a lot of older consoles, no store, so I do collect games for those, but it's moving forward that we are going to lose this ability to go and buy physical cartridges for, or physical games for. There will be, I mean, we've already seen it. You've got things like the PS5 digital, the Xbox Series S. They were talking about bringing out a revised Microsoft Xbox Series X with no disc drive. There's rumours that the Switch 2 might come in a cartridgeless version. So that trend has already been brought in. So that there's obviously a big enough market of people that don't buy physical cartridges to bring out consoles that only take won't take physical media. Only it's only downloadable. I think now I could be a little off on these figures, but you've got the end of 2023. I'm pretty sure something like 83% of game sales was digital, and so you can kind of see why they are trying to phase out physical media, because if my maths are correct, that's 17% of people are still buying physical media, and that's not enough. That's a lot of expense to put out discs and produce the packaging and make the discs and all that. And if only 17% of people are interested in that these days, that's gonna just, well, it makes more sense to go digital. But then again, if they stopped the digital, people would have to buy physical. There we go. I'm starting to ramble a little bit, but there's no doubt about it. Physical sales are well on the way out. It's all digital from here on, which is the end of the whole buzz of going in a second-hand shop and buying a game or seeing a physical game somewhere. So let me know what you think. Are you a fan of this whole digital age for everything, from music to movies to gaming, or would you prefer to have something physical that you can call your own and hold and look at and admire? Like, subscribe, enjoy.